She rolled into the diner for a quiet breakfast, alone, unassuming, and in a wheelchair. But when two strangers mocked her scars, they had no idea who she really was, or that within the hour an entire army unit would rise in her defense, turning a moment of cruelty into a nationwide call for respect. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel as a sign of support. It was a crisp autumn morning in Chestnut Hill, a small New England town where life moves slowly and everyone seemed to know everyone. At the corner of Maple and 3rd stood Miller's Diner, a cozy spot with booths wrapped in red vinyl and the scent of sizzling bacon wafting through the air. Inside, Olivia Harper rolled up to the counter in her wheelchair, nodding politely to the staff. She was a former Army medic who had served 2 tours overseas. A roadside bomb had cost her the use of her legs, but she carried herself with dignity. Dressed in a simple navy jacket with her veteran's pin on the collar, Olivia quietly ordered her usual, black coffee and oatmeal with fruit. In the booth behind her, 2 men in their early 30s snickered as she wheeled past. One nudged the other. "You see that? Probably faking it for sympathy." The other chuckled cruelly. "Or she got herself blown up trying to play hero." Their laughter wasn't loud, but it cut through the morning calm like a knife. Olivia heard every word. She turned her head slightly, eyes narrowing. The waitress, a young woman named Maddie, stiffened at the counter, clearly uncomfortable. No one said anything. Olivia didn't respond. She just looked out the window and sipped her coffee. Years of service had taught her when to fight and when to stay silent. But she wasn't unaware. The comments stung, but she wouldn't give them the satisfaction of reacting. What none of them knew was that a call had already been made. Maddie, who had served Olivia several times before, was furious. As soon as she got a moment, she slipped into the back room and pulled out her phone. Olivia's nephew Ryan was stationed nearby at Fort Branson and often came by the diner with his fellow soldiers when he was on leave. Maddie texted him without a second thought. "Ryan, it's Maddie. Something happened. Olivia's here. Some guy said awful things. She didn't say anything, but I thought you should know." Ryan Harper was in the middle of a training exercise when his phone buzzed. He wasn't supposed to check it, but when he saw Maddie's name, he broke the rule. Reading the message, his jaw clenched. He knew his aunt rarely spoke of her time in the military. She wasn't the kind to boast, but she had saved lives under fire, pulled wounded comrades to safety under mortar shelling, and paid a steep price for it. To be disrespected like this, publicly, was too much. He showed the text to his unit. "Guys," he said quietly, "I think we've got a situation." Sergeant Dean, a tall, broad-shouldered man who had served with Olivia years ago, narrowed his eyes. "Let's roll." They weren't planning a confrontation, at least not a violent one, but they weren't going to let it slide either. If no one else would stand up for Olivia, they would. And so, the trucks began to roll. Back at Miller's, Olivia had just finished her meal. She glanced at her watch, about to leave, when she heard the rumble outside. Engines, several of them, not the usual morning traffic. She turned to look. One by one, soldiers in uniform stepped out of 2 military trucks and a couple of personal vehicles. There were maybe 15 of them. They moved with discipline, eyes forward, boots hitting the pavement in sync. People inside the diner craned their necks to see what was going on. The 2 men who had laughed earlier noticed the sudden arrival too. Their smirks faded as confusion replaced their bravado. The soldiers entered the diner silently. Ryan led the group, his face unreadable. He walked straight to Olivia and knelt beside her. "Aunt Liv," he said, "you okay?" She nodded, surprised but composed. "I'm fine, Ryan." Sergeant Dean stepped forward. "Ma'am, we just wanted to thank you for your service. We heard someone forgot their manners today. We're here to remind them that disrespecting a veteran doesn't fly." The men at the booth went pale. One tried to shrink behind a menu. The other looked like he wanted to disappear. Dean turned to them. "You got something to say?" They shook their heads quickly. "That's what I thought," he said. The room had fallen silent. Then someone clapped. Then another. Soon the entire diner was applauding. Olivia didn't cry, but her hand trembled as she raised her coffee cup in salute. After the applause died down, the soldiers stayed, not to intimidate, but to show support. A few of them ordered coffee, others sat around Olivia's table. Ryan stayed close to her side, his presence solid and comforting. Olivia leaned toward him. "You didn't have to come all the way out here." "Yes, I did," Ryan said. "You're family. And more than that, you're a hero. We don't let heroes get treated like that." She smiled faintly, her fingers resting on the rim of her coffee mug. "I didn't do anything special," she said. Sergeant Dean chimed in. "You served, you sacrificed, you saved lives. That's more than special." Olivia shifted in her seat. Her memories of war weren't something she wore proudly like a medal. They haunted her some nights. She had joined the army out of high school, wanting to be useful, to serve something bigger than herself. She hadn't expected to come back in a wheelchair, but she never regretted her decision. "I guess I just wish people understood," she said softly. "We don't need pity, just respect." "You've got ours," Ryan replied. "Always." The two men who'd mocked her had already paid and slinked out, avoiding eye contact. But Olivia didn't look at them as they left. They weren't important anymore. The real power wasn't in calling them out. It was in standing up together for what was right. By noon, the story had spread through Chestnut Hill like wildfire. A local high school student who had been at the diner posted a short video on social media. It showed the soldiers walking in formation into the diner, the crowd clapping, and Olivia smiling humbly at the center of it all. The video went viral. The local news showed up by the afternoon. A reporter from Channel 9 asked Olivia if she'd be willing to share her story. She hesitated at first, but eventually agreed. She sat under a maple tree outside the diner and told the camera about her time in the army, her injury, and how hard it had been to come home feeling invisible. "It's not about me," she said. "It's about every veteran who's been overlooked, mocked, or forgotten. We serve because we love our country. We don't do it for applause, but we do deserve respect." People began stopping by to thank her. Strangers shook her hand. One woman left a bouquet of flowers on her table with a simple note: "Thank you for your courage." Later that evening, Miller's Diner offered free meals to all veterans for the rest of the week. A small American flag was placed near the counter with a plaque that read, "In honor of those who serve, especially our hometown hero, Olivia Harper." Chestnut Hill had been reminded of something important, and they wouldn't forget it again. The following week, Olivia received a call from the local VA office. Inspired by the public reaction, they wanted to feature her in a veteran outreach campaign. They asked if she'd be interested in mentoring younger veterans transitioning back to civilian life. At first, she hesitated. She had never seen herself as a mentor, but something about what had happened at the diner changed her perspective. Maybe her story could help someone else feel seen. Ryan encouraged her. "You've got wisdom and grit. They need that." So Olivia said yes. Within a month, she was hosting weekly meetups at the community center. Veterans of all ages showed up. They shared coffee, stories, struggles. Some were quiet, others angry. But they came, and that was a start. Olivia also began speaking at local schools, helping young people understand the sacrifices made by those in uniform. She kept it real, no sugarcoating, no fanfare, just truth and heart. And through it all, she kept visiting Miller's Diner. Her table by the window became a quiet landmark, a place of strength and change. She never saw those two men again, but she didn't need to. They were a footnote in a story that had grown much larger than a single bad moment. A year later, the town hosted its first official Veterans Appreciation Parade. Olivia was named Grand Marshal. She didn't want the spotlight, but Ryan insisted. "You didn't ask for attention, Aunt Liv, but sometimes the right people need to be lifted up." As the parade rolled down Main Street, Olivia sat proudly in a decorated convertible, waving as families cheered from the sidewalks. Soldiers from Fort Branson marched in formation, some holding banners that read, "Honor, courage, respect." Maddie walked beside Olivia's car holding a bouquet. She smiled, remembering that quiet morning when everything changed. After the parade, at a small ceremony in the park, the mayor presented Olivia with the town's Civic Honor Medal. She accepted it quietly. "This isn't about me," she told the crowd. "This is for every veteran out there who's ever felt forgotten. Know this, we see you, we honor you." As the sun set over Chestnut Hill, Olivia sat with her family and fellow veterans. the sounds of laughter and celebration all around. She had once felt invisible. Now she had found purpose, and a community that finally understood what she stood for. And in the quiet dignity of her smile, there was something stronger than any insult could ever touch. Olivia Harper's story is a powerful reminder that true strength lies not just in service, but in resilience and dignity. When she was mocked, she didn't respond with anger. Her fellow soldiers and community did that for her, proving that respect and unity still matter. Her journey from silence to leadership turned one painful moment into a lasting movement of awareness and honor. If you know a veteran, thank them today. Share their story. Listen, support, and speak up when others won't. Respect isn't optional, it's earned and it must be protected. Let's make sure no veteran ever feels invisible again.